Welcome to Let Out the Clutch, brought to you by My Biker Attorney. I'll introduce you to my friend Nicole Hakeem. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Nicole and I got to know each other through, I think, Eurotech a little while back, and that's where you've been working for a while, is it not?
Yes, I've been there coming up on 4 years now.
And your job there is what?
I'm the parts manager.
And I don't really care about the parts today. I just find you very interesting as I've got to know you more and more. And I follow you on social media and see some things you're doing. But it's just exciting seeing you accomplish your goals and out there and doing the biking and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
What got you into bicycling and motorcycling to start with?
So my ex-husband got me into bicycles and motorcycles, and I had no idea that it was even something that I enjoyed or that I was into. And he got me a bicycle, and we, would go on some little rides. And then one day, all the wives learned how to ride bikes in a parking lot.
Give me a time frame. How long ago was this?
This was probably 18 years ago.
Oh, so it's been a while.
Yeah. And I was the worst in the parking lot. I couldn't put my feet on the pegs. I got the clutch and everything, but the act of putting my feet on the pegs, I couldn't do. And I rode around all day with my legs out.
Was it a Honda Rebel or something small, or what was it?
It was some vintage something. Some little something.
Any motorcycle safety classes, like MSF or something like that?
Nope, it was just in a parking lot. And then we had I want to say it was like a KX 85 or something that I would ride in the neighborhood just for fun. And my ex-husband road raced, and shortly after that he high-sided his motorcycle and he broke both his wrists and his ankle, and he decided that he needed a better bike. The reason it happened was he overrode the limits of that bike.
Of course.
Yes. So he gave me that crashed bike and bought himself a new bike. And I got a job at a Yamaha shop and got parts at cost and rebuilt this 98 FZR 600 and started riding on the track. And so my first experience, aside from like a little dirt bike, is on the racetrack. And
That's supposed to be a very nice experience because you're in a controlled environment. You're wearing
Yeah.
full leathers, all the gear, all the time.
Yep, it's true. It's really good. Everybody knows to hold out, watch out for you, and there's you don't have to worry about cars, and it's really a safe environment to learn how to ride.
Was this bike street legal or just a track bike?
Just a track bike.
Now, when did you get into street bikes? And off-road bikes, too.
So that got me into supermoto. So then I got a KX 500 as my first supermoto, a nice 500 two-stroke that I couldn't even kick. I had to have somebody else start it for me. And I got a taste for supermoto and kind of fell in love with that. And then that bike, I had my worst crash ever on that thing. It was bad. And so I sold it, and I got a new supermoto. I got my YZ 450F, and that has been the best bike I've ever had. I raced the heck out of that thing.
Do you still have it?
I still have it. I did a big bore, so now it's got a big bore and some other stuff.
Now, you worked at the Yamaha shop. Well, were you a parts person there, too?
Parts.
And you mentioned something interesting to me because I'm not a guy that wrenches on motorcycles. That's why I've got friends that could do that.
Yeah.
So you work on your own bikes?
Yeah, generally I work on my own bikes. Now I'm lucky enough to work at Eurotech and have very talented people around me that give me the confidence to do things I would have never dove into. Yeah.
But just tune-ups, maintenance, all this kind of stuff?
Yeah, all that I can do.
Now, when you're at the track, did you do your own maintenance out there as well?
Yep. Did all my own maintenance out there.
No formal training, just picked it up, turned the wrench, and figured out you could do it.
Yeah, pretty much. Ruined some good aluminum parts, learning cross-threading instantly and stuff. So, yeah, it was a learning experience. I've ruined some expensive parts right out of the gate. But it's, I get restless, and so I'll have a project sitting there, and I'm like, well, I can try it. And YouTube also gives me a lot of fake confidence.
Now, where are you from?
So I'm originally from California, but I moved to New Mexico when I was 17, and I lived there for 21 years.
We're talking about starting this podcast, and just a few minutes ago, you told me that you did some radio stuff out there as well.
Yeah, I did 2 different radio shows in New Mexico. I did one with a couple friends of mine. We did Get Your Drink Ready, which was a skit show, and we played 90s music, and we would have fake calling guests, and we would try and have like a theme. It was a lot of fun. We did it at, I think it was like 10:30 at night, so we couldn't really get in trouble for some of our shenanigans.
And the second one?
The second one was a Monday afternoon dedication show to my dad. My dad made all these tapes off of the radio. And so I started listening to him, and he was really into these different blues and oldies. And so I would go down this rabbit hole of blues and oldies and come up with an hour to do a dedication show to my dad's music.
That's pretty cool. Now, what brought you to Oklahoma?
So my mom lives here, and I basically had been in New Mexico a long time with no family, and decided that my kids needed to be spoiled by grandma, and so we live like a block from my mom.
Now, when did you move to Oklahoma?
About 4 years ago.
So not very long.
No.
Now, from the Yamaha shop, did you keep working in motorcycles in New Mexico before you came here?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to get in with OCD Custom Cycles and Auto Repair, and they specialized in BMW motorcycles and Mercedes G-Wagons, and did a lot of vintage, any kind of weird thing that nobody else would take on. They would, and so I got to learn a lot about European motorcycles and that aspect of things.
Is that the transition to Eurotech?
That was a transition to Triumph Albuquerque.
Okay.
That I was service riding at OCD, and so then I got into service riding for Triumph, and I did that until really I kind of decided I needed to shift gears and move here. And so with no pre-set up, my mom lives in Yukon, so I was like, I'm going to move to Yukon and I'm going to work at Eurotech. And I just kind of had it in my head that that's what I was going to do. And so I moved here, and a few months after I moved here, I walked into Eurotech and got a job and was like, all right.
You're working at a toy store is what you are.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's...
Well, you're partially to blame for my most recent motorcycle purchase. You know that, don't you?
Yes, that Multistrada. I am pushing those Multistradas.
It was wrong. I came there to buy the 1800B, the white one.
Yeah.
And I already talked to AC, and that was the one I wanted. I'd already ridden it. And I came out to your 10th anniversary party. You had a band playing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And you guys had bikes out for riding. And one of those was they had a black 1800B, and then it was used, and they had this Multistrada used. And I drove the 1800B, and it was fine, fun. But I got on the Multistrada, and I didn't want to come back. I find myself on the highway, and I'm missing exits, and I'm like, they probably want this bike back at some point in time, but I just kept riding.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm lucky enough to work at a toy store that also totally supports my addiction and all my crazy ideas. And so AC usually lets me take a bike to MotoGP, and I've gone through a few bikes. That was the 4th one that I've taken, and it knocked my socks off. I did not think I was gonna like it.
I didn't either.
Like
I don't like tall bikes. I'm not a big person as far as height wise. I'm intimidated by those kind of bikes. I didn't think I was gonna like it at all. And I fell in love with it, and I bugged the crap out of you that next week with questions because you had just ridden that very bike down to MotoGP.
Yep. Yeah, no, it really amazed me. Every bike I had taken down, well, I took a Triumph Tiger 1200. It was okay. And then I took the BMW S1000 XR.
That's a fun bike.
That was fun. It was my dream bike before I took it, and I came back like, okay, that was good. I don't feel like I need to buy that. And then I took the K1600B, which tons of fun.
I test rode one of those not that day but before when that first came out. That's a beautiful and a crazy performance motorcycle.
Yeah, it was amazing. I really enjoyed it, but again, I would put it was equal with the S1000XR. Great, but and then I took the Multistrada, and I'm like, the quick shifter, or Ducati did everything right. I mean, the adaptive cruise, the quick shifter.
That's what the adaptive cruise is very cool, because you can set it. And like, I was on the highway, I think a week ago, and I jumped on I-35 heading southbound, and set it on whatever speed I'm not going to mention, but maybe faster than I'm supposed to.
Yeah.
And you're overtaking a car, and it will slow you down, and you can shift without terminating or stopping the cruise control.
Yeah.
And then they get out of the way, and it just speeds up on its own. You just click through the gears, and it's gone.
Yeah, that was, I think, one of the things that I liked the best about it was how smoothly it accelerated once the car was out of the way, and how quickly it realized it. There wasn't a lag, like, okay, now we can move. It was all very smooth and seamless. I generally hate adaptive cruise on cars and stuff. They set you so far back, and this one, I feel like they did it right.
Well, you can actually adjust it.
Yeah.
But I've got the Ducati Diavolo, which to me just rides like it's pissed off all the time. This V4 Multistrada has that ability, but it's more docile if you want to ride it docile. You don't have to be on it all the time.
Yeah, it's true. Now, we did just get on the floor the RS.
Okay.
Which is performs a little bit more like the Street Fighter. It's got that bite to it a little bit more. So that'll be exciting. I want to take that one out.
Now, you said that you had just ridden this bike to MotoGP. That was in April.
Yeah.
Does AC let you ride a bike whenever you kind of want to, or how does that work?
So he really does support us in whatever, we kind of want to do. There's definitely rules in there. But I was able to take the Dart Adventure Riding School on a Tiger 900. I did the MOA camp out on...
That's the BMW.
Yeah, the BMW MOA camp out on a GSA. And so, yeah, he lets me take things. Of course, I have to bring them back washed and in good shape.
Well, those bikes, when you're doing the Dart or the off stuff, you can drop them from now and then, but that's just part of riding the motorcycle.
Yeah, definitely. I had to really weigh it on that one. I did use my dirt bike for Rock Day, although I had myself fully convinced to take the Tiger, but then decided on the pointy rocks I was going to take my dirt bike. So
Did you ride the Tiger on the sand day?
Yes. Went back.
Just the last day you didn't do it.
Yeah, just the Rock Day. I went to my dirt bike.
Now, what bikes do you have now of your own? You got a dirt bike?
I do. It's bad.
Have you seen my garage?
It's so bad. So I have a Yamaha FZ1. I have a Triumph Daytona 675. I have my YZ 450F Supermoto with the big bore. I have a CRF 450 RX.
Very nice.
I have a CRF 250R. I have a little Honda Metropolitan scooter. And then I have a TTR 90 and a KX 65 that I raced flat track.
Very nice. Now, I struggle with this concept. Are you letting your boys ride?
Yes, I do. Unfortunately for them, my older son, who's 18, is like 6'2", and so his skills aren't quite set on the side to where the bike he needs for his size. And my younger son is ready to go. I'm just like, I don't know if my health insurance is good enough. He's like, I want to ride with you. I want to go on these trails. And I'm like, well, let's teach you some things first.
Yeah, and right now we're lacking in Oklahoma City with training classes, besides like the Dart stuff with the off-road. But the riding school down by the fairgrounds is no longer operating, so I don't know where you take somebody to get them started now. Do you have any ideas?
I don't. I know that, what was it? Oklahoma City, I think Midwest City, and maybe Norman all put on free riding classes.
Are they beginning or like refresher classes?
I think they're for if you already know how to ride.
Yeah, see, that's it. The Evan motor cops used to put on a class too, but you already had to be able to ride.
Yeah.
And my oldest son went down and did the class down at OCCCCC down there by the fairgrounds, and you take their bike out, you drop their bike, you step off, and you don't worry about it. And over the weekend, you get your license when you leave.
Yeah.
But they're not running that anymore.
No, and I did mine through the Harley MSF course on a Buell Blast.
Was that a long time ago or recently?
Very long time ago.
Yeah. And I don't mean to be a sticker for these schools, but my first bike I had back in college, my first straight bike was back in college in the 80s, and I thought I knew everything, and I had a motorcycle license from South Carolina where I was raised, and I joined the Air Force, and I still had not taken any formal training, but in order to ride on the base, you had to take the classes, and I learned the valuable skills that I had not really taken in, even though I've been riding for years. So I think the classes are beneficial if you can just find one.
Oh yeah, I think really I think all kinds of classes are beneficial. I mean, it all carries over. I think if you look on Facebook, I think you can find individuals that are, you know, in the industry that are willing to teach people, but you have to be willing to look. If you already know how to ride a motorcycle, I'm a huge pusher of the racetrack. I think everybody should go to Hallett, take the Hart class, and really it teaches you so much. You go to Hallett once and take the Hart class, and you will come back a better rider.
And I have never been on the track. I guess that's not true. I rode my Harley Road Glide on the track up there one day. They went to see some friends. Ryan used to work at, I think he was racing up there, and I stopped by. I'd been to Arkansas on my big bike, and I was loaded with bags, and I went there, and between races, they let anybody with a motorcycle ride on the track, so I took my Road Glide around a couple times, but that's not riding on the track.
Yeah. No, but it's worth going back out. You could take that multi-strad out there, have a good time.
That would be a lot of fun. I would be scared though. It's a beautiful motorcycle. I'd hate to crack it on the asphalt.
Well, so your first session out there is single file, and so they take you out.
Follow the leader.
Follow the leader just to learn the line, you know, and then after that, it's really up to you to go however fast you want. You can even tell an instructor, like, okay, show me that 100 more times, and they'll.
Do you know if you have to have full leathers?
You don't. You can have like a two-piece suit, especially if you're just doing the Hart class. They're a little more lenient. When you move up, then they get more stiff on the rules.
Tough question. Do you like the track or do you like the off-road stuff?
So I've been trying to figure that out. I think road racing and single track are very similar.
That's odd to me.
Yeah.
Because single track is not like, how are they the same?
Well, you're taking in what's happening quickly. There's lefts and rights. So, you know, when you know your trail, they don't really change. It's learning, you know, and switching and how fast you can. I think picking a line and riding single track has made me a better road racer because I found that I'm much better at being able to put that tire wherever I want on the track because of being able to do that in the single track.
Very interesting. I never thought about that because I took the Dragoo class and you're standing up and you're doing different things.
Yeah.
But single track, you're sitting on a bike like a dirt bike. You're riding a dirt bike.
Yeah. And it's so I think I have a problem. So I ride single track like I'm road racing in the woods. I mean, I like to push the speed as far as I can. Comfortably and try and beat my lap times and, you know, always get faster. So it's a lot like road racing to me.
Do you have friends you go with pretty regularly?
I do. We have our BRAP crew.
What does that mean?
That's a messenger group that we're all on and arrange rides just about every weekend. I missed out on a big one this last Sunday.
Is it Draper, Stillwater? Where do you go?
Yeah, those are some of the main places. We did the Sooner Adventure ride together. There were 10 of us, I think. So yeah, it's pretty good. We show up in good numbers sometimes, and but it's pretty nice. Have a group of people that can all go.
Now, do you ride a different bike whether you're riding Draper or if you're doing the Sooner ride? Because it's a little bit different rides. Because Draper's off-road, Stillwater's off-road, the Sooner's on county roads.
Yeah, so technically I have once I got my 450 in January, I pretty much put my 250 in the corner, and now I'm like, okay, I need to spend a little work on the 250, because that one, I think I'd have tons of fun Draper on that one. I got spoiled with my new bike, so. But
it still goes to Draper too.
It does. It's fine. It's just the difference between riding a 250 and a 450 out there. I mean, you know, I bought, it's so light, I can't even say that it probably weighs the same as my 250. It's just, I think you just have to be a little more conservative with it, I'm kind of like, okay, now I'm ready to get on the 250 and just rip the throttle and, you know, get to have some fun on that little bike.
Now, I told you I follow you on social media, and I see that you're doing a lot of bicycle racing. You just completed in one or another race.
Yeah, the season finale was yesterday.
Okay.
And I got first place, and I won the championship. So it's pretty exciting.
Pretty impressive.
It is. I'm pretty excited. I didn't know how it was going to turn out, and really, last year I did my first mountain bike race ever, and I got second place.
It's been a year? Only been a year?
Yeah, it's only been a year, and I was so excited with my second place, so I decided I'm going to race mountain bikes. And I went to my first race, and I got fourth. It's like, oh no. And I went to my second race, and I got fifth. I was like, I don't like this at all. This is horrible. And then I went back and got second. Okay, and I got second again. I'm like, okay. And then I started getting first, and I ended on a streak of 4 firsts. And I think, if anything, the confidence from that carried over. I did good in a bicycle race, and then I did the Blackjack Enduro on my 450 out at Cross Timbers.
Okay, I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, it's a race.
I know what Cross Timbers is. I haven't heard of this race.
Yeah, so they have the Blackjack series, Blackjack Enduro, and they did a race at Cross Timbers, and I figured, oh, that's my home track. I'm going to do it. And I did it, and it was, I swear it was just because it was right after mountain biking. And I did it, and I got third place. And so, yeah, I was like, it's been a good race here.
That's pretty cool. I didn't think I knew you're that competitive. I've seen your posts, but I didn't know you're doing all this stuff too.
Yeah, so I figure collectively I've raced motorcycles for 10 years. I road raced for 8 years, and then I did flat track for 2 years.
I didn't hear about the flat track.
Yeah, so...
What were you running on the flat track series?
So the first year, so the guys over at Colvin Motorcycles.
I don't know that name.
They're a shop at 10th and Ann Arbor that build flat track race bikes and stuff. And they supplied me with a bike my first year, and it was a YZ 400F.
Okay.
So it was a dirt bike, single cylinder, and I kind of got a feel for it. And then the second year, they put me on a vintage Ducati, had a Ducati motor. Who knows what the frame and the rest was, but it said Ducati on the motor. And that was my actual like twin that I got out there and really raced, and that was pretty fun. I don't think flat track is not my passion. I rather...
That's one direction.
Yeah, it is.
Turn left.
Yep, go fast, turn left. That's not quite my thing.
Well,
but,
for what you said about the single track and the Supermoto, that's what you wanted to be.
Yeah, that's more my speed. But it worked because in order to practice the flat track, I would run Draper with only rear brake. Don't touch your front brake at all. So do everything out there with no front brake. And then you go fast into those turns and you start doing that. Well, then I crashed and I broke my brake lever off. Well, who cares? For fun, I practice without that. So it makes it definitely a useful skill.
No, that's just pretty cool. Now, the bicycling is over. Is there a motorcycle series going on now, or is that ending as well?
So it's all kind of, I think Oak Ridge just had their last race. There's a race this next weekend. There's the Gold Rush, which I've been watching the weather. So if the weather holds, I want to race it on Sunday. I've got some buddies that are racing it. But if it rains, I don't really want to.
You want to ride in the mud?
I don't want to ride in the mud. I want like the right amount of water.
A little rain before a ride in the dirt helps.
Yeah, definitely. If we could get like some Friday, Saturday, a little bit. But if it's like 8 inches overnight, then
Mudfest.
yeah, I'm not. Because it's a 3-hour endurance race.
That's
3-hour endurance, pavement and dirt. Or you can do a team.
Like a relay stop?
Yeah, except you have to use the same bike.
I don't know. Which would you prefer to do?
I don't know. I was like, well, I think I could do the 3 hours, but then I thought an hour and a half split with a buddy, and then if one of us gets hurt, the other can take up the slack. I was like, well, that would also be a good plan.
Is this the same people in your test group, or is it a different group of people?
Same people.
Same friends that do
Yeah.
this stuff all the time?
Well, no. So some of them race Okra. It's pretty sporadic. Some of these other races, if they're gonna do it, yeah.
And what's your next bike? You have your eye on one?
I'm got my eye on a mountain bike.
Okay.
I got my Supermoto for sale, and people keep trying to trade me weird things for it. And I was thinking, what would I take for it? And I was like, I would take a nice mountain bike for it. My mountain bike needs work. I'm thinking sponsors for next year. I got next year. I moved up to Cat. I have to move up to Cat 2, so I'm like intermediate now, and yeah. I'm like, maybe get some sponsors, get a new bike.
You can spend some money on those too.
Oh yeah, I think trade a dirt bike for a mountain bike is pretty.
About the same.
Yeah.
Any road bike racing as well? Bicycle?
No. So I do have a road bike, and I just decided to dust it off for some training, but I don't typically do that. That's a lot of the same, so.
What about street bikes? Do you have one in your mind that you like to have for a bike to have to ride, or do you need one right now?
Right now, I don't know that I need one. Yeah, so the FC1 really checks a lot of boxes. I mean, cruise control and LED lighting, some auxiliary lights, that would change it. But other than that, I think they did a good job with that bike.
And people don't understand that once you've had cruise control, you don't want to go without it on a trip, because you can rest your right hand and take a break and all that stuff too.
Yeah, that cruise control, anything more than an hour, I start thinking about all the bikes I've ridden with cruise control.
So where's your next bike trip?
So the next bike trip is Rockfest down at Crossbar.
Dragoos.
Yep. That's the next one.
That's in November, I think.
Yeah, that'll be, and then really I think it's just the reset for MotoGP.
And that's in April.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much for being here. It's just fun getting to know you and get to know you better, Nicole.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a blast.
And it's called Let Out the Clutch, brought to you by my biker attorney, but it's just kind of fun. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.